Wherever you are in the world today. We are talking about an important topic here because we are digging into how we can influence client perception inside of our businesses. Because this is something that, we are probably aware of, but how do we actually influence it? You as a studio, you know that client perception is really important. It's something that can have a really big impact on your bottom line, on your revenue, right? But what are the actual factors that influence client perception, and how can you make sure that people have a positive view of your studio? Um, we want them to have those positive views, of course, but we are sometimes so focused on what we are doing inside of teaching and doing the actual lessons that we can forget what it looks like on the outside, right? We can forget what it looks like from a client perspective when it comes to what our studio looks like. So, we're going to focus on 3 specific tactics today that will allow you to shape client perception. 2 of these are easy to do. I picked 2 tactics that you can implement today and it won't take you a ton of time. But I also picked one that is more of a long-term strategy, because this particular strategy, the third one that we're going to go over today, is probably going to have the biggest impact for you. So before we get into all of that, I want to take a moment to say hello to those who are joining me live. If you're here live, please be sure to say hello down below. Let me know where you're tuning in from today. And I would love to ask you a specific question. If you could choose one word for how you want clients, whether it's current clients or prospective clients, if you could choose one word that you would love them to use to describe your studio, what would that word be? And I want you to share that word with us down below. For those who are watching on the replay, hey, please play along with us. I love to come back and have conversations with people who are watching these videos later, because I know that, this 12 p.m. Eastern time is not convenient to everybody's teaching schedule, and you might be watching this later on. So again, the question that I'm asking is, if you could choose one word that you would like prospective clients or current clients to use to describe your studio, what would that word be? So share those words down below. We'll be bringing those up in the broadcast today. And before we do that, I'm going to hop on over and make sure that all of our links are working correctly. We had a goofy thing happen with Restream today, and I want to make sure that everybody's where they need to be. So I'm excited to hear what those words are going to be. Hey, Carrie's saying hello over on Instagram. Hey, the Instagrammers. Let's see what other comments are coming up today. Why can't I find my comments? Okay, I see Pete is saying hello. Hey there, Pete. Christine's tuning in from Baltimore. And I love, okay, so we've got some good answers so far. Christine says she would love people to describe her studio as supportive. I love that. And Elizabeth says, hello from Central New York. Her word that she'd like to choose is creative. Oh, I love it. And then Carrie over on Instagram is saying motivational. Mary is saying unique. These are great. Okay, so we're going to get back to those words in a moment. But what we're going to do right now is we are going to take a little break and play some music. Here we go. So let's get to it today, shall we? We're going to look at some of those other answers that you all are sharing down below. Again, the question of the day is, if you could choose one word for clients to describe your studio, what would you want that word to be? How do you want them to perceive what you do in your business? Okay, so we have lots of things set up for you today. So let's go over those real quickly before we get to the 3 tips and the tactics that we're going to talk about today. We love to learn out loud on the broadcast. And if you're new here and you've never joined us, we like to do that by sharing our hashtag takeaways. So if you hear something that's important to you, maybe it's something new or something that you want to reinforce in your brains, give us a hashtag takeaway and then tell us what that thing is and put that below so that people can find out what you thought was interesting in the broadcast. I want to invite those who are on YouTube. If you're new and you're watching me for the first time, be sure to subscribe so we can get notifications when you get, when we put out new videos. And by the way, like those watching on Instagram and Facebook, hey, if you want to subscribe to the YouTube channel, it's a really great place to subscribe, in my personal opinion, because we actually have more content on there than we do on some of our other places. So subscribe, check out the playlists. We've got a lot of content there for you. Okay, so we do have the Savvy Sara bot set up. So for those who are on Facebook or Instagram, if you want to drop the word perception down below, then the Savvy Sara bot will make sure to get you all of the show notes from today. And I'm going to give the YouTubers a special link, and I'm going to drop that in our live chat. And that is where you can get a hold of today's info as well. I'm kind of having to boop around and find the specific link because I didn't have it open. All right, so here is where we can click here for show notes. All right, there you go. Hey there, Judy. I see you over on Facebook. That's awesome. And I see, Judy has dropped the word perception. There we go. And she's going to get a little message from the Savvy Sara bot with all of the things. Okay, so before we get to our 3 tips today, I do want to highlight some of the other words that people have chosen. I think that these are great. And then we're going to shift into the teaching part of today's broadcast, and we're going to talk about 3 specific tactics that you can use in order to positively influence client perception. All right, so Julie is saying she wants to use 2 words. Absolutely, you can use 2 words, Julie. And then the words that she's choosing are fun and excellent. I love that. And so Karen is saying, it took, yeah, I know there was something happening today here. Your studio, you would like to describe it with the word creative. I like that. Natalie is saying she would like the word inspiring. Okay, these are great words. Okay, all right, let's get to it, y'all, and make sure that we have all the goods today. We are good to go. All right. So step number 1, when it comes to positively influencing client perception. Actually, let's do a pre-step. Okay. So a pre-step. It's time to build habits in your business that regularly allow you to visit from an outside perspective. So the reason that I chose today's topic is because this month we're really focusing in on branding, because Branding Bootcamp is coming up on September 30th. And if there's anyone here who would like to have a discussion with me about whether or not that course is right for you, just drop a branding down below and I will reach out. So we're focusing in on branding, and one of the really interesting parts about your brand, let's state this simply. First off, you have a brand whether you've been intentional about it or not. And your brand is actually decided on by the perception of others. So that's a really bizarre thing about brand. A brand of a company is not actually decided specifically by the company. It's decided by client perception. And so the reason I wanted to focus on this topic today is to give you some tools in order to influence the way that clients perceive your business. And these tools are pretty specific. So let's get to tip number 1 here. The first tip of the day is to pay attention to client reviews. And let's pay attention to them in specific ways. So let me highlight that and make it pink, make it kind of fun. So when it comes to client reviews, there are a few things that I want you to keep in mind. Oh, great. Mary, I see that you have mentioned over on Instagram that you're interested. I'm going to write down your name because Instagram's really weird and all of the stuff from the live chat disappears after I go live. Instagram, y'all got to fix that for real. Okay, so I will reach out to you via a DM and we'll have a conversation. All right, so let's keep going. Why should we pay attention to client reviews, and how specifically can we pay attention to client reviews in order to influence client perception? So, this ties into what I would call user generated content. That means a piece of content that is generated by somebody outside of your business, a client, right? So, when somebody leaves you a review, whether it's, I mean, they can come in lots of different places, right? Maybe it's a review on Facebook. Maybe it's a review on Google Business Profile. Y'all, I'm having a hard time remembering the name of that because it used to be Google My Business and now it's Google Business Profile. Whatever. Okay, so it could be on that Google account that you have. It could be, a testimonial that somebody has submitted. Maybe you have a Google form or something that they've like sent you via email. It could also be a lovely text that somebody has sent you. So for instance, maybe I actually have a specific example that I can use for this. One of my students, Caroline, she got her first lead in a musical this past spring, and it was very, very exciting. So she was, oh gosh, what is it? Oh, Winifred. She was Winifred in Once Upon a Mattress. Such a weird show. I digress. Her mom had texted me a couple different times. First when I had gotten the announcement via text from my student that she had gotten the lead role. And then another time after I had gone to the show to support her. And her mom had texted me and thanked me for, being her teacher and for supporting her and believing in her and, doing all the things that I do. That, while it wasn't like a review that was left on a social media, it wasn't, even like a review per se, it's positive feedback. So we want to really pay attention to client reviews and positive feedback. And here are some things that you can do with those items in order to increase like positive perception with current clients and also with potential clients. So you want to take those reviews and you want to repurpose them. So let's say that you get a text message from a client that says something wonderful, and you would love to share that information with other people, right? With your audience. So what I would do is first ask for permission, right? Ask them to say, hey, I really appreciated this beautiful message that you sent me yesterday. Would it be okay if I shared this on social media? 9 times out of 10, they're going to say yes. If they don't say yes, they'll probably have a concern like, just make sure that you don't share my phone number, and like, duh, please don't share their phone number, right? But take a screenshot of that and turn it into a post. Another thing that we can do is that we can take reviews that we have on social media, or like on Google Business Profile, and we can take those and feature them on our websites. So you could copy the text and create a part of your website where you're putting those reviews. And another way that I love to do this is if somebody leaves a review for you on Facebook. I love doing this. I think it's fabulous. And actually, I should do this later today just to show you all an example, right? Maybe I should screen share and show you what I'm talking about right now. Let's do that. That's way more fun. Okay, so let me pop into my account, and I'm going to go over here. I'm going to open a couple different things. So, all right. So let's do this. Okay. So I'm going to do a little screen share, maybe come back here, and we're going to do this. Where did it go? Where's my screen share thing? Okay, let's try it this way. Hooray, there it is. Okay. So I'm over here on my Savvy Music Studio Facebook page. And okay, so I'm looking at my reviews section. And here's something that you can do. And this can be super simple. I'm going to move myself so I'm not going to get in the way of this. So I have this review from it's not letting me do this. There we go. From Anna Matthews Fagan, and this was a review that she left about Branding Bootcamp. And what I can do with this review is I can take a screenshot of it by doing my little fancy screenshot thing. Take this screenshot, boom. And then what I can do is I can make a post about it. Actually, I need to switch my profile because I'm currently in my personal profile. So I can take that screenshot and I can make a post by adding that screenshot that I just took. Let's find it. It's somewhere on here. There it is. Okay. And I'm doing this in real time to show you that this is a thing that you can do, right? So you can take a screenshot of that post and then write about it to say, like, thank you so much to Anna. We'll see if I can tag her. Probably not. Nah, it's not going to let me tag her. For these kind words. It was amazing having you in our spring round, in our 2022 spring round of branding boot camp. And then I'll say, looking forward to supporting more teachers this fall. We kick off on September 30th. All right, and then maybe I would add like a little emoji to that. I typically like to add my green heart. Okay, and then I'm just going to make post, right? So I've taken, a piece of content that before, let's bring me back here. All right, so I've taken that little piece of content that was featured in a review and I've taken a screenshot of it and I've made a post with it. So that's a very simple way of highlighting what others are saying about your business. And it's a great way to give people an insider's perspective about what current clients are experiencing with you. So I want you to pay attention to client reviews. I want you to celebrate them. Make sure that you're responding to them. And let me add a little side note here. I wasn't going to include this in the broadcast, but I feel like it's important. If you get negative feedback, right? If you get negative feedback, first off, I'm going to say you probably are not going to get negative feedback. Like the chances are really slim of you getting negative feedback because I know that you are an amazing teacher. But if you do get negative feedback, maybe it's actually from a current client, like a former client or a current client or something like that, and they leave a negative review. It could also be from like an internet troll. Trolls. And, maybe somebody that you've never worked with goes on to your social media and leaves a bad review. The chances of this are extremely slim. Okay, so don't let this scare you away from reviews. What you can do is be proactive, right? If you get negative feedback, your job is to address that feedback promptly and professionally. Now, when I say promptly, I don't mean that you have to do it like within 5 minutes of somebody leaving you negative feedback. Give yourself time to think it over. If you need like feedback from your colleagues, if you need feedback from friends, or like if you're really worried about it, message me. Address that negative feedback. And if you ever do get negative feedback that is not valid and it's left by a troll, there are ways to get rid of those reviews on Google and on Facebook. So if you ever need help with that, let me know. But all right, moving on to point number 2. Okay, before we do that, I'd love to know, if you're listening right now, what was it that was helpful to you about tip number 1? Leave your takeaways down below so that we can see what is working for you. I love this too. Okay. Julie, this is a fantastic idea. Before we move into the next part, she says notes from students are a great review too, especially the younger ones. This makes me remember I used to keep a file. I still have it. It's somewhere. I used to keep a file in my studio of all of the student artwork that I've gotten over the years, because I had a number of young students who would like come into lessons and they had drawn something for me. And I used to take pictures of those drawings and post them on social media because I think one of my favorites was a portrait of me teaching, and it was drawn by a 5-year-old. So it was really fabulous. And it was a very fun piece of content. It was a great little piece that I could put out into the world. I love that, Julie. Yeah, you have a file too. That's great. Hey, Beth Ann, nice to see you. All right, let's move on to the second item today. And the second item is this. If we want to influence client perception, one of the most powerful and easy things that we can do is to focus on providing excellent customer service. This comes back to, I think I've said this before in other broadcasts, when it comes to marketing your studio, one of the most powerful things that we can do is stop marketing to prospective clients and start focusing on your current clients. Because your current clients are your most powerful, one of the most powerful assets when it comes to marketing. So if we can remind ourselves to focus on providing excellent customer service, we are first, it's giving us an opportunity to love on our clients and an opportunity and a reminder, right? Because you appreciate the good people, the good clients who are in your studio. And, take a little time each week to think about, what is a way that I could show appreciation? What is a way that I could lean into customer service inside of my business? We want to make sure that our current customers feel loved on, that they feel appreciated. And, it can be as simple as taking a moment to choose 3 students, choose 3 clients that you want to send a little extra text message to that week to say, hey, you know what? I just wanted to reach out and say how much I enjoy working with your son or your daughter, and, just have an opportunity to say thanks. It can also, tie in to, dealing with issues that might arise in your studio. How do you want to shape the customer experience that people are getting? And this is something that we talked about intensely yesterday when I did a branding presentation inside of the How to Run class in the Speakeasy Cooperative. Client experience is really important, and we are responsible for shaping that experience. It all has, the tone that you're using, the language that you're choosing, how you decide to respond and react to situations that are positive or negative. It's really important. So focus on your customer service and see how you can lean in and give them that little reminder that they are valued and appreciated. You will be surprised at how that will pay off in the long run. And it's something that's so easy, but we often forget. I love this. Okay, some great comments to bring up. Karen says, I had a grandmother do a work of art of me teaching her grandson. I promoted it like crazy. Oh, how wonderful is that? Grace said that her takeaway is to repurpose her feedback notes from students, like I got the part and things like that. This is a wonderful idea that Julie has. She sends pianoversary postcards in the mail. Hey, Julie, just because I know you have a whole bunch of really cool resources out there. If you have a resource that people can download or purchase for pianoversaries, can you leave a link to that for us? Because I'm sure that there's some teachers who would really enjoy being able to not think about doing something like that, because you've already created beautiful things. Okay, let's move on to item number 3 today. Okay, and we'll get a little sip here. This item is more of a long-term strategy than it is like a one and done tactic. So one of the ways that we can positively influence client perception is to make sure that our branding is on point and to make it consistent. I couldn't fit that all across the screen, so, it has to go above. So what does that look like? We want to make sure that the branding, right, of your studio, and I'll be specific about this, we want to make sure that the verbal and visual representations, these things that you put out into the universe, the copy that you use on your social media, your website, the images that you post, We want to make sure that those items, right, reflect the values and the personality of your business. And, this can be used in all different types of ways. It could be social media posts, it could be websites. We've mentioned those two things, but also it can be as simple as, making sure that your email signature really ties in with who you are as a teacher and a human and a business owner. We want all of the touch points that may potentially be in front of a current client or a potential client to tie together and to give them a really clear picture about what it is to work with you, why you are unique, why your studio is a special place that works with special people in special ways. So making sure that our branding is on point and being consistent with it is really important, because that is going to influence all kinds of things. It's if we are consistent with our branding and we know that our branding is able to communicate, what we do, why we do it, and who we do it for, then we are going to be able to communicate more clearly, and people are going to get an accurate idea of what your business is like. We are going to be able to increase brand recognition so that when people see a post by you, they don't even have to look at the name of the person that posted it, right? They're like, oh, I recognize this person, right? I recognize their images. I recognize their tone. I recognize the topics that they're posting about. So this is, a really important aspect. And again, it's something that a lot of people are not digging into because branding feels hard. And believe me, I get it, right? I'm going to be super transparent with y'all. I'm going through a bit of an internal rebrand right now at Savvy Music Studio. So that I am actually going through the work that I encourage other people to go through. I'm doing it again because it's been a couple of years since we did the big visual rebrand and all that stuff. And I want to revisit some of the internal branding aspects so that I can feel more in alignment with things, and I can make sure that the messaging that I'm putting out into the world really aligns with who I'm working with. So if that is something that you are interested in exploring with me, I want to remind everyone that Branding Bootcamp starts on September 30th. And if you would like to know more about that, just drop the word branding down below and I will reach out to you. I am doing Branding Bootcamp discovery calls. This is something that I don't normally put out. But if you want to hop on Zoom with me and have a conversation about whether or not this class will be right for you and how this class could specifically help you grow your business, I do have room on my calendar. The space is limited. I've got some openings this coming Friday. What would that be? September 9th. And I have some openings happening next week as well. So if you do want to get a hold of that, put branding down below and I will reach out to you and we can talk and I will give you a link where you can book a call with me. All right. Enough of that. Let's come back to the beginning of this and we're going to do a rapid recap about everything that we've talked today. Bjorn, are you ready? He looks like he's ready. Okay, here we go, everyone. Oh, let me bring something else onto the screen here. Okay, so here we go. Let's be honest here. The way that your clients and other prospective clients perceive your studio is something that directly affects your bottom line and impacts your revenue. So here are 3 specific ways that you can positively influence client perception. 2 of these are simple and one of them's more of a long-term strategy. Let's take a look at these. The first thing that I want you to remember is to pay attention to client reviews. And I don't just mean like making sure that you know that it's there and reading the review. I mean, get into that review. Thank the person who left it. Celebrate it publicly. Repurpose that review into a piece of social media content. Or, look at other sources of reviews that you can celebrate. It could be a text message from a client. It could be a positive email. It could be that, they sent up smoke signals, or it could be a little piece of artwork that your student brought to you for their first piano lesson, or the painted rock that my 6-year-old Abby brought me years and years ago. There are so many different ways to celebrate those client reviews, and it can be a great way for current clients to understand how other people are experiencing your student studio, and how, prospective clients can get an inside look at what it's like to work with you. And side note, if you do have negative reviews, let's be quick and professional to respond to them. If anybody ever needs help with this, reach out to me privately. Second item is to focus on providing wonderful customer service. Your current customers are one of the best assets of your business. And if we can remind ourselves more consistently to love on them and show them that we appreciate them, we are going to really be investing in our business. So remind yourself on a weekly basis, how can I show appreciation to one of my favorite clients this week? Maybe it's a little text message that you send them, reminding them how much you enjoy working with them. Maybe it's you being mindful of taking pictures and videos inside of your studio and sending them to parents. Or maybe it's leaning into, what are the expectations that I am setting in my studio? How can I make sure that I am really communicating how I want to work with people? And, being consistent with customer service, whether it's a positive experience or a negative experience that somebody has had. So we want to be mindful of that. The third item here, and this is more of a long-term strategy, so this is something that may take a little bit more effort, right? I want you to make sure that your branding is on point. We want to make sure that all of the branding that you have, visual and verbal elements are reflecting the values and personality of your business. And this can be everything from the social media content that you put out, to the the stuff that's on your website, to the emails that you send, to the signature that is on your email. We want to make sure that your branding is on point and consistent across all places, and that it communicates things clearly to people so that they can understand who you work with, how you work with them, and why you do what you do. Right? All right, everybody, that is it for today. Thank you so much for being here. If you found something that was valuable in the tips that we've provided today, I want you to let us know what that is. Give us a hashtag takeaway and let us know what that value is by commenting down below. If you want to get a hold of today's show notes, if you drop the word perception down below, the Savvy Sara bot will reach out to you, and she will give you all the details that we've talked about today and information about Branding Bootcamp that is starting on September 30th. We only have 8 spots left, so if you are interested in joining us, now's the time to reach out. Thanks so much for being here, everyone. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join me. My name is Sara Campbell. I'm a business strategist, mindset, and marketing coach for music studio owners and online education experts just like you. And we will be back next week on Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern for more business mindset and marketing topics. And until then, stay savvy and stay you, because you are an amazing teacher and there's no one in the world that's quite like you. And I think you're pretty dang awesome. Thanks for being here, everybody. We'll see you next time.